Hi everyone, this is Hijar.
This is Anna Kellish with Realty World, Knox Realty Group. I have to look at my notes every time I say that because it's a lot to say and then I get jumbled up. But today we will talk about finances. Remember the last video we discussed renting versus buying.
Right.
Now we've decided we want to buy something.
Right.
What is the next thing to do?
I would say the first thing you have to do is work on your budget. What can you afford? What are some expenses you can go without? That way you can have an idea about what down payment you should be able to put in for the house. Now there are some programs where you don't even have to have a down payment, but just remember, more down payment, the more equity you're building already on your home. So it just helps you overall with the whole mortgage process, getting a lower rate, getting the house that you want, and the program that fits your budget the best.
Right, so another thing too, let's slow it down just a tad bit because there's a lot, said there, and trust me, we can talk a lot more about that, and we will. But for me, the first thing I needed to do was to look at my finances and look at them honestly and
with a microscope.
With a microscope and go through that fear of truly looking, because that's another thing too. A lot of us are afraid to look at our bank accounts because we're afraid of the truth. So, but you know what? The more we face those fears and the easier it is to get through them, and then you find out the truth, and now you know what to do. So I would recommend looking at your bank statements, determining where we can save some money.
Right.
Hajar, you mentioned looking at expenditures that one might not need. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yes, the out of sight, out of mind applies in this theory a lot because we're all guilty of it. I mean, how many subscriptions do we have that really you never even turned on? Or I love Netflix and I'm not promoting for them. However, like some other people have different ones that you don't even watch, but that's one prime example of subscriptions you can go about. You would think, it's just $14, it's just $20, but when you have several of them, that adds up to $100, $200 a month that you can actually just, if you have reviewed that statement, like Anna said, you would have realized that you really are spending money where you're not getting the worth of.
One of the things I stopped doing is getting my nails done. Oh my gosh, that's so expensive. And trust me, I'm very much into pampering myself and doing all that girly stuff. I love that. But it is quite expensive, and so one of the ways that I decided to save was stop getting my nails done. I do them myself at home. They don't look as perfect as I would like, but you know what? As long as they're short and clean, I'm good to go, and I'm saving that money.
And I kind of want to share a tip with you guys about one way that helped me save up. There's this rule, and I'm a numbers girl, so numbers kind of help me figure out things, how to sort things in my brain. The rule of saving that I really enjoy is the 50, 30, 20. Like, what are you talking about?
What is that?
I know, right? So just now, let's break it down. We start by taking your income, after deductions, after taxes, what you usually take home. That's what you apply the 50, 30, 20 to. 50% of it you want to spend on what you need. And what you need encompasses things like, your mortgage or rent,
food,
your utilities, your food, primary things to survive, right? The 30% is things you want. That iPhone you've been having your eyes on for like a while.
Or that handbag.
Or that handbag, well, we all want a Gucci bag or something like that. That vacation that you really wanted to go and take your spouse to or something. Then the 20% left is what you want to put in a savings, in a good interest return saving. Something like a Roth or money market or things like that. So the 50, 30, 20 kind of helps you decide how do you want to budget your money, and the less you spend on 30, which is what you want, the more can go towards savings. And then you'll find yourself saving a good amount for, because as much as we want to know, as we want to think we don't really need as much savings, things happen, life happens, like health problems, a lot of things, medical
flat tire.
bills. Yeah, that
can be expensive.
It is expensive. But that one rule that helps me figure out kind of how to plan.
That's really neat. You know what? That reminds me of another misconception that's been out there for a long time, and a lot of us have heard this. but I think I know I have interpreted it incorrectly for a very long time. I remember people saying, pay yourself first.
I like that.
And for a very long time, I thought that meant as soon as I get my paycheck, I'm gonna go buy something for myself.
Right.
Because I'm paying myself. Now I understand, or I have decided to look at that differently, and instead of me going to buy a new pair of shoes, I pay myself first by investing that 20% or whatever
That's
percentage
excellent.
of the paycheck,
Right.
first. So in other words, I'm investing in myself.
Right.
So when I had a regular paycheck, there was a certain percentage that went to my 401k at the time. And we still do that. My husband and I, when we have our income, we put certain money aside for investing, for saving, because that is how we are paying ourselves first. Then we go to the 50 and 30 rule.
Right.
And you know what? Yeah. So when we hear pay yourself first, it's not about,
Gucci bags.
we love Gucci though. I wouldn't want to give up a Gucci if I had one, but I don't, not just yet. But I can and I will one day.
Right.
Anyway, but it's about, you know what? This reminds me of this book that I read that changed my life.
Right.
It was Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey. The reason why I loved it so much is because he talks about finances and money in such simplistic ways that even I could understand. And one of the things that struck me as I was reading it is I found out that I was financially immature, and I still can be. What I'm trying to say to you was I used to look at money as something to go through quickly. Today I have changed and I know better. And my goal now is to get to the point that Kevin Leary from Shark Tank says, and he says, I want my money to work for me. I don't want to work for my money.
That's a good one.
And I love that. I love that. So that is a goal. And ultimately what I want for my family and for those that I respect and admire is to gain financial freedom. Financial freedom and financial security. And we all have our different bar, right? Our different goals and definitely, our own set of rules. So it's whatever works for you. However, we are here to discuss these tips because we want to share this information with you so that we have new tools in our tool belt.
I agree. And I know a lot of things we say seems like too good to be true. Like, we all want to do savings, but it's the hardest thing to achieve is to save that money. It's so tempting, like you just said, to just spend it on yourself, on things like that. One tip I want to add to this is what helped me, because whenever I see money in my account, I'm like, oh, you shouldn't stay in that account for long. You gotta go. You gotta go to stores. You gotta go here. Is having automatic ACHs or deductions going to several accounts. Wherever you bank, I would advise you go and speak with a bank advisor about opening several savings or several checking accounts and have portions of those go towards those accounts and name them something. Name them. This is for savings. This is for this. This is for vacation. That way, you're not the one responsible on personally moving it there, because that's the most challenging thing to do. It gets done for you and out of sight, out of mind.
Right. So ultimately what you're talking about is automating.
Right.
Automating that first payment to yourself so that you don't have to have the temptation, right, of spending it. Yes, and trust me, like I said, I'm a work in progress, and I'm grateful for my spouse who is financially savvy and very literate. But that was a value that was taught to him early on. I didn't have that, and this is not feeling sorry for myself or anything. It's just that it's true. The education on how to have our money work for us is not out there. So it's about learning. And the beautiful thing about nowadays is that the information is out there, it is accessible, and it's often for free.
Right.
Okay. What do you think? Should we wrap this one up?
Yeah, I mean, we have discussed, budgeting in the terms that works for me and for Anna in our own personal lives. Hopefully it helps someone or motivates someone to kind of go on that ride as well. We all want the best for everyone.
And also, what we can do, Hajar, is perhaps next time talk about some tips on how to save. I know today was very general.
Right.
Looking at our finances is number one. However, there are several tips out there
Absolutely.
that can help us save. And you know what? I encourage you guys to share with us your tips on how you save.
Right.
Thanks so much for watching. See you next time.
Yeah, bye.